What's it like to be in charge of developing the latest and greatest product for a SaaS technology company? At Jotform, for every new product we release, there's a team behind it that's been working quietly in the background for months or even years to make it ready. Today, we'll be talking to Dilem Akışık, the lead behind our newest launch, Jotform Teams, to peel back the curtain on what goes into developing a product. Welcome to Momentum, a podcast by Jotform where we talk about the technology, productivity tips, insights, and best practices that help us move forward in business and in life. Let's get started.
3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Maintaining momentum.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm here with Dilem Akışık. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, perfect.
Senior product designer and team lead for the enterprise product team here at Jotform. Dilem, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today.
Thank you for having me here, Elliot.
It's great to have you. I think this will be really insightful for some of our users and even prospective users to hear about what goes into a product launch, because as a matter of fact, we are gearing up for the launch of Jotform Teams, which will be Jotform's last major launch of the year. Can you tell us a little bit about what Jotform Teams is and why it's such an important product for Jotform?
Yes, of course. Jotform Teams is a product, well, actually it's a concept where the users can create shared workspaces for their team members and allow them with particular permissions and roles like team admins, creator, data collaborator, and so on. So they can work together collaboratively. And this is important because for the first time, we're building an enterprise-first feature. We generally start with the regular users and start with those
like a bronze, silver, gold plan.
Exactly, yes. But this time, this is something different that we are doing. This is the first time that we are building for something first for the enterprise users and then for the regular users. So it's a very exciting project for us.
Yeah, it really is. And we've talked about how we will always be a small business company helping the small businesses and the solopreneurs. But more and more as our company has grown, we have taken on more and more enterprise clients, which is very exciting. From a perspective of scaling the company, but it also does entail new products and services that we need for those enterprise clients. So it's an exciting first for us. Can you tell me where and when the decision to create Jotform Teams came from? Like how long you've been working on it and how it was first decided?
Well, I've been in Jotform for more than 5 years, and I've worked in several product teams. But it was in the beginning of this year when I switched to enterprise product team. And the concept was before me, but we started right away on January 2022. And it started with our users, because it's very important to receive user requests, the feature requests from our users. And it was one of our customers, actually, our enterprise customer, who said that, well, we're working on this shared folders and it's a bit archaic, actually, our system that we use, because they need this team system, but they have to do it like they share with you and another person and this third person. So it's not very autonomous.
Right.
So why don't we do something that we could bring all of these people together where they are working on the same form or same data? So that's how we started, actually.
So it came from the request of a user, actually.
Yeah.
It was like a solo user who identified this need. And that's really cool. I think that's been a theme with our products. We had Eidiken on, which by the time this airs, it will be last month in October, talking about so many of our products, all of our products come from user feedback, directly from user
Definitely.
feedback. And that's one of the advantages to still being somewhat small, nimble company when we can take our time to develop these products. So how has your experience been developing Jotform Teams? I'm just kind of curious because you're a senior product designer. So when you get the charge to create a product like this, like what does that entail? What is your role like? How does this 10, 11 month process, probably more at the end of it, actually unfold?
Well, we started with this design week. This is one of our culture embraces about like hack weeks or design weeks we do. And since Teams has this importance for our users, we started with that design week where like maybe 10 or more designers joined there.
Is this graphic designers, developers, or by designers, what do you mean?
I mean UI, UX designers or product designers.
Okay.
So not only they work on myself as well, not the UI only, but also the flow of the product is very important. So we worked on that as a concept. And then we brought the ideas together and sorted of how this should look like at first. And we didn't want to, let's say, intimidate our users because they have an ongoing workflow. So it should not like make those workflow upside down. So it should be a little seamless. That's why we started with putting Teams inside my forms, and we started like that. It had many challenges, by the way, and we're still tackling with those. But maybe you were going to refer to those, but one of the challenges was the Teams is such a concept that it has to work with all of our products, like tables, form builder, apps, and everything, because it covers them all. So it was the biggest challenge was that, I guess, and because we have to work with all of the product teams in a sync way, and since they have a lot of things on their agendas, it was hard to make a tune for that.
I imagine. Well, as Jotform's products grow, as we keep adding new great products, it's very exciting for us because then we get to deliver more value to our customer. But it also, I imagine, makes future products more complicated because they need to fit in with all those other products.
Definitely.
And those pieces of the puzzle. But the importance of this, I know you mentioned that it's like a shared workspace, basically.
Yeah.
And that's so important for enterprise users specifically, because one of the benefits of enterprise is that you can have multiple people on one account. So you can obviously share all that data and information and forms and tables, whereas that's not a need that a lot of our regular users have. So it is cool to see how this is such an enterprise focused product. I'd be curious. I was going to ask about some of the challenges you face. So I'm glad you prefaced that a little bit. Are there any others or any more that you can elaborate on?
I can say that since we have this like 16-year-old product, we have to use some existing structure, obviously. That's why the second challenge was that, I guess, because we have to, I mean, it's always easier to build something from scratch because you can do whatever you want, but we had to stick with those limitations and work on those, and sometimes we had to find some workarounds and everything because it doesn't make sense. I mean, Aida can also mention this in his several talks, I guess. It's not the best way to do. You can't always create a perfect, like flawless product. You have to create and see and receive the requests and feedback from the users. So you don't have to wait until it's perfect. So we have to use our existing structure, and that was another challenge because, as I've said before, it has to work well with the rest of the products. So it was very challenging for us. But I guess most of them we have been covered.
Yeah, that's great. I imagine that's got to be a little bit of a conflict because you want to release the best product possible, but at the same time, getting to that MVP, that minimum viable product, and then releasing it to users to get their feedback. That has to shape so much of the development process. I'm sure. Out of curiosity, how does the development process for Jotform Teams, how does that compare to some of the other products that you've worked on at your time here at Jotform?
Similarly, I may sound similar, but well, this is my fourth big product, let's say, because I worked on card form and PDF editor and smart PDF forms. Well, two of them were about PDFs, and the third one was about to be PDF. I was working on Sign, and then we switched to enterprise products. So these products were more separate, more standalone
Right.
products. That's how it differs, I guess. Yeah.
Right, and now this Jotform Teams
Yeah.
kind of incorporates everything all into
Definitely,
one, so
yeah.
it's a whole new experience about for you. Well, it seems like we are really close to the release of this now, and by the time this episode airs, it might even be released, which is very exciting. What are you most excited about with the release of Jotform Teams? Like, what are you excited about this bringing to users?
To be honest, it is always the hardest time when you just launch the MVP, because it's the first time then the users will face your product. So we already done it with our enterprise users on August, I believe. And
So there's been some beta for this already?
yeah, we have this beta users, and we are already collecting some feedback, and it was the hardest time, and we passed that. So I'm just excited to just release this, and we're working with bunch of teams like launch and content writers. We will be working on them, and so I just want to just launch it, and just we have some ideas as well to make maybe we cannot make them happen before the launch, but we will be improving the teams. So I'm just excited to just air it as soon as possible. Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's so interesting because for launches like this, teams like yours have been sort of working in the background for months and months, and maybe shared some updates with the company on like one of our demo days or something like that. But then we get close to launch, and then it becomes a coordinated effort from all these different teams helping support and bring it to market. And then we get to see all this amazing work that you've been quietly working on for so many months. It's a really cool part about, for me, being on the marketing team, especially. When you do launch a product like Jotform Teams, something you've invested so much of your time and effort into, how does that feel? Like, will you be relieved, excited? Do you celebrate? Is it just on to the next thing? Like, what's that feel like for you?
Well, relief is the key, I guess.
Yes, you
for
made
us,
it.
because it's like, okay, so this is the milestone, so what are we going next? Because in Jotform, we always improve ourselves with small implementations, or we always work on live production. So as soon as we develop something, we meet them with our users. So it's not like, okay, we launched and this is the end. No, it just begins, because we have to maintain that product. But I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know about our next product, but for some time, I think we will be working on Teams.
Yeah, the continuous improvement that we generally try to do here at Jotform to make the best product. I was going to ask, like, what's next after a product launch like this? Whether you stay on the product and move on to another one. Do you have any idea, just in general, from your experience as a designer, when you release a product, how long do you stay on that product making improvements until you do eventually move on and be like, that's good enough, and now you're on to something else? Like, how long do you expect to be working on Teams?
I think this depends on the agenda of the company, I guess, because sometimes we need to maintain, because it depends on the complexity of the product as well. But it might take a few months maybe, and then we deliver that product to the maintenance team, and they will keep on working there. And if there is like, as I've said, the company has another vision about a new product, then we switch to that. I don't know about that yet, but as you know, IDEKIN this year said that the vision of the company is turning a little bit to enterprise. So I think we will be working on some more enterprise-related features, but I don't know what comes next. But I think we need to make some improvements on the admin console of our enterprise servers. Maybe we will work on that.
Sure, you'll see. Right now, the focus is on the here and now, on Jotform Teams, making it as good as it can be, and we're all very excited for it. Is there anything else related to Teams, your experience, or anything else we talked about today that you'd like to share before we end?
Well, it is a laborious time. I mean, thinking about all of our team's developers, myself, and the product management, everything we tackle with every obstacles, and we try to make sure that everything works fine, and we try to be in tune with all of the products as well. And I think I can't wait for the launch. That's what I can say.
Neither can we. It is incredible to see how much work, blood, sweat, and tears go into products like this. And you, as the senior product designer, all that pressure. And I've seen the product. It looks great. It works great. It's only going to get better. And we could not be more excited for it here at Jotform. So thank you so much, Dilem, for taking the time to come on today. This was really insightful for me. It was great to peel back the curtain a little bit. And we hope all our users get a lot out of Jotform Teams.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And I would like to mention that it was an amazing experience for me to have you guys here. And I hope we can do this annually if there are no pandemic anymore. So I'll see you around in another Jotformers week.
That means a lot. Thank you so much. I hope to be here next year as well.
Thank you.